What's going on, everyone? My name is Jake, this is where I talk capes, and unfortunately, I'm back to being worried about Avengers Doomsday. Now, I know what you're thinking, has there been new news? Has there been leaks? Has there been scoops? The only news that I'm not really excited about right now is the fact that apparently we're getting Spider-Man vs. Hulk and Spider-Man Brand New Day, which at best dilutes the gang war, and at worst means we're not going street level, but that's a whole other thing. The reason I'm worried about this is because the other night I finally sat down to watch The Electric State, a movie I have been a hater of since before I even seen it, because I have feelings and opinions about the Russo Brothers as writers, not so much directors. I think as directors, when they're given something that's written by other people, they turn out more often than not good movies. Obviously they got their start on Community when they were just being told, hey, we've wrote this, you do this. You bring this to life. And they went from there. Obviously then they did the two best Captain America movies. Obviously they did Avengers movies and stuff like that. But since then, Cherry with Tom Holland, brutal. The Grey Man, brutal. And The Electric State, possibly worse than both. And I think that's kind of endemic and a sign of who the Russo Brothers are as a creative force. And I've came on here many times and I've talked about how I don't believe the Russo Brothers have earned this goodwill that everyone seems to have given them. And I just want to talk about my worries going into Avengers Doomsday. Now, admittedly, this could all just be overblown, especially because, is it McFeely? It's Marcus or McFeely is returning to write the movie. Obviously, Marcus and McFeely wrote Infinity War and Endgame, which are probably their two biggest successes. And one of the two, either Christopher Marcus or Steve McFeely, is coming back to write Doomsday. It is this one. He's who's writing it. And the Russos are just there to direct, which I have said many times is where I think they're the best. I think they're the best at shepherding someone else's vision into what they want and into a good product. However, with the fact that they've been made two of the biggest movies of all time, proceeded to make a total dog shit. But the fact of the matter is, because they made Infinity War and Endgame, they are in a position where they can just ask for however much they want. The Electric State was made for $320 million, which is insane because it looks like this. $320 million for a movie that I thought was awful and not even so bad I remember anything. It was just dull and boring, and I kept just looking to see when it was over, and it was like when I was scrolling my phone, it wasn't going quick enough. When I was like, I'll put my phone down and watch this and maybe the movie will actually fucking pass quicker, it still wasn't going quick enough. It crawled across the finish line. And I am in the camp, I am of the belief that if you make a movie for over $300 million, I should remember things. I feel like it should be memorable. Good or bad, it should be memorable. It was just a dull crawl. And I understand that the budget for streaming exclusives it will always be inflated in comparison to movies that will get actual theatrical and physical releases, because in these movies there's no way to wangle anything on the back end. There's no way to get a portion of box office, and there's no way you'll get residuals from them because these movies aren't getting physical releases and things like that. So I understand that because of that, Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown, who already command quite high fees, probably command a little bit of a higher fee. Same with the Russo Brothers. Same with Anthony Mackie was in this, Brian Cox was in this, Alan Tudyk was in this, Giancarlo Esposito, Como Domingo was in it for a bit, Stanley Tucci was in it. A lot of money has went into an all-star cast to make a movie that's just completely bland and forgettable and bad. But my main issue with this is the fact that this feels endemic of what the Russo Brothers are going to do now. This movie was made with the help of AI. The Russos have came out before and said, we want to direct the first feature film with a script written entirely by artificial intelligence. So, we want ChatGPT to write us the next big summer blockbuster, and we want to direct that movie. You've done it twice now. They're called The Grey Man and The Electric State. But apparently AI was used in the process of this movie as well. It was used in the background of this. And, if they're allowed to do this for Doomsday, that further helps legitimise the use of AI in a creative industry and a creative practice, which it absolutely shouldn't be. We should be chasing these people out of Hollywood. If you believe it is right and good and just to be using artificial intelligence in your creative process, then you simply fundamentally do not understand the medium that you are working in. And that's something I've said on here many times before, specifically when talking about the Russos. That goes for Natasha Lyonne as well. That goes for anyone who wants to use AI in their work. And it's when you see the new Wicked like character teaser thing, when it's all framed like those god awful videos that are like, I asked ChatGPT what it would look like if the Avengers was made in 1970, and then it turn around and be like, fucking, excuse me, Michael Douglas as Ant-Man again. just Michael Douglas as Ant-Man one more time. But those videos, the post like the character reveal thing or whatever for the new Wicked, and it's all framed like that. And to me, that screams that they're trying to muddy the waters by posting the real actors here, so eventually they won't ever need to bring the real actors back to get these done, and continue using AI to push the marketing of these movies, and then eventually legitimize the use of them within these movies. And all of these things just have me really worried for Avengers Doomsday. Apart from the fact as well that it doesn't seem like there's anything going on. Everyone just seems to be goofing off. That movie's coming out in a year and a half, and I know they did push the release back a few months, but that kind of still feels like not enough time, considering reports are coming out that it doesn't seem finished, or like there's people who still don't know what they're doing, or they haven't finished what they're doing, and things like that. There's a lot of different reports about Doomsday not necessarily being a mess, but not being finished, and every time the report comes out, it's, we're still working on Doomsday, we're still doing it. And with such a short run-up between the beginning of production is currently underway at the moment, and by the time this movie has to release, and the Russos' love of artificial intelligence, that just makes me feel like they're going to push to use it to meet this deadline, which is bad and gross. I'd rather have a movie that looks like dog shit made by humans than the most pristine, polished movie ever made by AI. Just quite simply. I don't know, I think the electric state has given me many more reasons to be worried about Doomsday. Doomsday is a movie I'm really hopeful for, I'm super hopeful for, despite how doom and gloom I am every time I talk about it, mainly because the Russos are helming the project. But their last 3 movies have been utterly soulless. Just absolutely, utterly soulless. And the electric state is possibly the worst offender. It's, the elevator pitch of that movie is, what if The Matrix and Ready Player One and other notable IPs but bad? And what if it looked like dog shit? What if everyone was just doing quips because we directed those movies where people do quips, and people like those movies when people do quips? People go spend money on those movies where people do quips. So let's just make everyone do quips. What's Chris Pratt? Oh, he's Star-Lord with long hair, I guess. He's Star-Lord with the worst haircut Chris Pratt's ever had, probably. And it's not a good film, and it's, to me, shows how poor the Russos are as creatives in the scene, and it really has me worried for what we're going to get with Doomsday and Secret Wars, because I'm feeling very hopeful for Doomsday and Secret Wars, especially with how much I enjoyed Thunderbolts, especially with how excited I am for Fantastic Four, and against my better judgment decided to watch The Electric State, which was bad, and it really helped me remember why I'm so harsh on the Russos. It really kind of proved to me that as harsh as I am on the Russos, it's all warranted. Everything I've said about the Russos for a number of years now was shown to me in that movie. Every single fear I had about Avengers Doomsday was shown to me as I watched The Electric State. And now, I guess for fairness sake, I will just say they're not writing this movie, which is where I think is their biggest weakness as writers. To me, their biggest strength as directors, they are more like a coach of a director, in terms of, you're given everything here, you're given the script, it's already done, you do this. You just take this from the page and you put it on screen because you're good at that. And the only thing that's really giving me hope at the minute is the fact that they're not writers on this project. But I still don't know if that's enough to kind of quell any fears. Now, going into Fantastic Four, we'll see how I feel following Fantastic Four. I'm very excited for that movie. That movie's out in a little bit over a month now, and I can't wait for that film. But You know, in that run up between Fantastic Four and Doomsday, will I still be feeling this worried? I'm just very cautious around the Russo brothers, because I don't think they're worth their salt, to be perfectly honest. But that's it for me today. I just wanted to come on here and talk about that for a wee minute, and just get my thoughts out there regarding that. But let me know what you think going into Doomsday. Are you excited for it? Are you hopeful for it? Are you like me? Are you worried about it? What do you think about the Russos as directors or as overall creatives? I really do want to know all of your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know what you think of The Electric State if you watched it as well. Do you think I'm being too harsh on the bad movie? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. As always, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Show us to all your mates and tell them about the handsome man on YouTube with the correct opinions about the Russo brothers. Once again, guys, my name is Jake. This is where I talk capes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.